What's up, Family Church? I'm Jimmy Scroggins. I'm the lead pastor of this incredible family of neighborhood churches, and this is Vision Sunday. Our vision is important because the stakes are so high. We just read that story of Jesus and the 10 minas. That story makes it clear that we operate in a hostile environment in our culture. We all feel that, don't we? Drag queens in the library, kindergartners wearing pronouns on their name tags, biological men competing with biological women in school sports, religious persecution around the world. I think we can all agree that our values, our beliefs, and our faith face increasing headwinds. But I promise you this, at Family Church, we are not on a journey on these issues. We are not moving. We have a book, the Bible. We have a confession of faith, the Baptist Faith and Message. We know what we believe, and we are sticking to our guns. But let's be honest, when we see all of these things happening, we want to strike back. We want to punch back. We want a way to push back. How can we do that in a way that honors Christ? Well, we're not starting a militia at Family Church. At our church, we're not primarily focusing on politics or government policy. We think the best way for us to push back is to have thousands of families living lives of ordinary, radical faithfulness right here in South Florida. We're serious about our partnership between the home and the church and the school. The story of the 10 minas also teaches us that God wants us to take risks and multiply God's resources. In that story that your pastor read, the servants that took risks and multiplied were rewarded. The servant that played defense, withdrew, and operated out of fear, well, he was reprimanded. What are we doing to take risks and multiply? Well, we're putting a neighborhood pastor in a neighborhood church, in a neighborhood building, speaking the neighborhood language, and we're adding a neighborhood school everywhere that we can. We believe that this incredible partnership between the home and the church and the school is our best strategy for passing our faith in Jesus on to the next generation. What does all of that have to do with Vision Sunday? What risks are we actually taking at Family Church? And is our strategy even working? Well, in 2023, we had over 6,500 people attending our neighborhood churches every single week. We baptized over 500 people this year. We had 1,200 people worshiping in Spanish and Portuguese every Sunday. We took 1,400 people to our camps in the summer. We started a new school, and we staffed all of that with an army of volunteers, and we funded it with our tithes and our offerings. The things we're doing, the people we're reaching with the gospel and baptizing, the churches and schools that we're building, the children and teenagers that are being raised in our neighborhood churches, all of these will have an impact that ripples across hundreds of years and multiple generations. So as you can see, the stakes for what we are doing are high. You might be saying, Pastor Jimmy, so much is changing in this world. Things are happening so fast. We don't even know how to respond. Well, the stakes are high at our church. And the stakes are high for our country, and lucky for us, we have a church full of people who have operated in high-stakes situations in multiple environments. And during this talk, you're going to hear from a few of them and how they were placed in high-risk, high-stakes situations in business, in professional sports, in the military, and under political persecution.
Vividly, what comes to mind is the morning of 9/11, that Tuesday morning where no one expected to us be attacked by, Islamic jihadists who wanted to do the nation harm. And so we went from a peacetime Air Force, I went from a peacetime bomber wing to 3.5 weeks later, we're bombing targets in Afghanistan. I can tell you my life changed from that moment I left my command post, and unfortunately I saw that first airplane go, which I thought might have been an accident, and then to the call and then getting back to the command post, and now we are at war. The adrenaline rush was real. You can cut it with a knife. I remember it to this very moment. You feel the weight of your responsibility, that actions really now have impact on people.
We are in a spiritual battle, and we recognize that the decisions we make as a church will impact thousands of people. When we start a church, when we start a school, these things can last a long time. I mean, Family Church Downtown has been around for 123 years, right here in this neighborhood. What if every family church lasts that long? They could. That's why the stakes in this business are high. Even though the environment can be tough, the expectation is that we will take risks and multiply and grow the kingdom using the resources that Jesus has given to us to manage. Good investments always carry an element of risk, and risk-taking isn't always easy. Look, you cannot be a deer in the headlights if you want to do what God has called us to do.
Yeah, you kind of almost like blackout mode a little bit. You know, your hands get a little tingly, get a little sweaty, you can feel the heart racing a little bit, but then as soon as you feel those nerves and that pressure, I guess, you kind of just, you can acknowledge it and then, you know, figure out your steps to kind of push that to the side for a little bit and just focus on the task at hand.
If I sat down and really thought about it, it probably would paralyze me, okay? But I continue to move ahead and move forward. And as an organization, we're very mindful that decisions we make impact other people's lives. And you know, you can't make decisions in a boardroom in West Palm Beach when you're in 80 different countries all over the world, that what works in Australia may not work in England or may not work in Japan.
God is pleased when we take the right kind of risks and make the right kind of investments with the resources He has given us to manage. And He is going to hold us accountable as individuals, as families, and as a church. Now at Family Church, we are a kingdom ministry, but we're a ministry that runs on a business model. And that means we have to keep track. So how are we doing? In 2018, when we first started Relentless Pursuit, we were 11 churches and 2 schools in 9 locations across Palm Beach County. That year, we saw 3,938 individuals or families give a total of $12.5 million. Now, last year, 2023, we were 15 churches and 4 schools in 11 locations, including the Treasure Coast, where we have planted more gospel outposts. Last year, we had 5,367 givers contribute a total of $19.3 million. That is impressive. Family Church is full of people who are making good use of all that the Master has given you. You are engaging in kingdom business. And this is how our 2023 giving breaks down. 848 individuals and families gave between $5,000 and $25,000 last year. These are people who gave consistently from their paychecks or even gave a tithe of their income, which is 10%, and their giving accounted for 45% of our total giving as a church. Many of these people use our online platform or give through their bank's online bill pay. Their regular, consistent percentage giving forms the backbone of our ministry. In addition to that, we have thousands of individuals and families who gave less than $5,000 apiece last year. Some of these are just getting started out in life, and some of these are people who are learning to give, and many of them are faithfully tithing from the income that God has given them. Altogether, this group made up about 22% of all of our giving, and so we're thankful for every one of those givers. We also have some people who have been blessed with a large financial capacity. You can see that we had 74 individuals or families who gave between $25,000 and $50,000. We had another 38 who gave more than $50,000, and of those able to give at least $50,000, 16 of those actually gave in excess of $100,000. Now together, this last group of people gave 33% of the money given to fund the ministry of Family Church in 2023. So you can see that Relentless Pursuit is funded by thousands of individuals and families doing what they can with what they have. If you are just starting out, well, we need you. If you are giving from a regular paycheck like me and my family do, then we need you. If you can give out of stored wealth or from an abundance of resources, then we need you too. Family Church is a great place to give. We strive to handle all of our money with integrity, transparency, and accountability. We have systems and processes in place to make sure that that happens. First, we have a team of pastors and staff who implement strategic decisions in conjunction with our leadership committees. They also manage day-to-day operations and continue to move our strategy forward every day. Now, everything our staff does is advised by our finance committee, which is made up of Family Church members from a variety of Family Church campuses. The finance committee sees all of our financial information. They meet every month to review campus operations, and they ensure that we are accountable and intentional with all of God's money. We also have a personnel committee, which is made up of Family Church members from a variety of campuses who directly set compensation for senior leadership. They oversee our compensation structure for all of our part-time and full-time employees, and they ensure that our compensation is appropriate but not exorbitant. As an additional measure of accountability, our finance committee makes sure an annual independent audit is performed and reviewed. And all of this, plus strict internal controls, earn us the ECFA seal of financial integrity. Exciting stuff. So thanks for giving. Thanks for investing. Thanks for praying. Thank you for participating and volunteering. Thanks for partnering with us to raise your kids and build your families. Thank you for sending your kids to camp. Thank you for sending your kids to our schools. Thank you for being supportive when our church takes risks. We are definitely going to be investing more and risking more as we move into 2024. Remember, ordinary radical faithfulness, the home church school partnership, that is our strategy for taking risks and multiplying the resources that God has given us. In 2024, we are starting at least 3 more churches and at least 2 more schools. 1 church in Jensen Beach, 1 church in Lake Worth Beach, and 1, well, I'm not ready to tell you. We are also starting 2 new schools, 1 in the Treasure Coast and 1 here in Palm Beach County. In 2025, we have at least 2 new churches and 2 new schools on deck, so be looking for that next year. We're looking at new buildings for Family Church Sherbrooke, Family Church Jupiter, plus a major overhaul of Family Church Downtown, and we're looking to find a permanent home for Family Church West. These are big moves and big investments, and they involve big risks. We have big future plans for our church near Westlake, plus new churches in Palm City and North Palm Beach. We're making these kinds of investments and taking these kinds of risks because the stakes are high. In the story we read from the Bible, it seems like Jesus is saying, you guys need to either go big or go home. Well, at Family Church, we are going big. You might be thinking, I don't go to church in all those places. I go to my neighborhood church. Why should I give money that will be distributed to all of these other neighborhoods? Well, the truth is almost all of us are sitting right now in buildings that we did not give a dime to build. Somebody else did that before we ever showed up. They gave, and now you and your kids get to be blessed by it. At Family Church, I promise you, you will give to buildings that you will never worship in, and you will help to fund leaders that you may never even meet personally. But that's how we invest and risk and multiply at Family Church. When we baptize a new believer, bring someone back to the Lord, get a family involved in our schools, take a teenager to camp, we understand that these decisions and these impacts are going to be multiplied across many generations and maybe hundreds of years. Giving to make all this possible, that's what Jesus meant when he said, lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. And even in days like today, when we feel like the environment is hostile, we have to keep going and we have to keep the faith.
Our faith, my mom's strong faith, got us through the hardest night that I can remember of my life, which has marked me even up to, today. As long as I can remember, we always wanted to leave our country. We wanted to go to a place where we could worship freely. And my mom had this strong faith that was passed down to us. But in 1980, there was a switch in our country. There was a lot of tension, and everybody wanted to leave the country at that time. So we knew this is our time. They found out we were leaving the country. That made us into traitors of the Communist Party. And what they would do during that time is they would gather outside your home and they would yell obscenities. They would throw tomatoes, eggs. On the third night, they started screaming, and they said, if you don't leave the house, we're coming in, we're raping the women, and we're gonna do just what they were doing at that time. My father decided it's time for us to leave. And I can only imagine for my parents the decision to bring us out of that home where we for the moment felt safe, out into the multitude waiting to harm us. As a parent, I can't even imagine putting 5 of your kids in harm's way. But we knew the alternative, what they had promised that they would do that night. And so we had no choice. My parents had no choice. But I think my mother knew, I'm gonna walk out there into this multitude. They want to harm us, my children, my biggest treasure. God is with me. He has brought us to this place. He will bring us through it.
The environment might feel hostile, but at this point, we're not nearly in the situation Maria is describing. In fact, at Family Church, we're celebrating and looking forward to so many great things. What a time to be part of this incredible family of churches. But Pastor Jimmy, is all of this going to work? The truth is, you can't say for sure. That's why it's a risk. But is it worth it? Absolutely. I'm all in. I'm ready to go. Question is, are you with us? Hey, Family Church, I love you. I consider it the honor of my life to pastor this family of neighborhood churches. We are not at the end of something, we are at the beginning of something. And we are in this together. We can't do it without you, so I hope you will make a commitment to fund this ministry. We need everyone in the game because the stakes are